Why do we celebrate people's birthdays? In order to make that clear, let me restate that question. Why do we celebrate people not dying? That seems like such an easy thing to not do in the 21st century. Especially if you have one of society's modern problems like depression. If you're depressed and wanted to die, you'd have to get out of bed, which is a lot more work than the average depressed person is willing to put in. It was definitely a lot more work than I was willing to put in, and this thought made me realize that in my 16 years of living, I've kind of been useless. Everything that I've been proud of my entire life serves no purpose to anyone, including myself. So in order to challenge myself and get out of my comfort zone, I've decided to make another pointless video that serves no purpose to helping me or anyone. God, I'm a disappointment. Thankfully, much like a 3 times divorced woman who after giving birth to her 5th child realized that no amount of alimony will ever bring her the joy and satisfaction that she's wanted for her whole life, I'm quite used to disappointment. Anyway, let's get into the video. Before we talk about birthdays, we first have to talk about something that everyone is affected by. It moves mountains, destroys entire empires, and even entire solar system. This concept is time. Birthdays were not celebrated until we knew what time really was, or before we could start tracking time. When our monkey brain ancestors were trying to develop the 5 heads that we have nowadays, they started by recognizing patterns. Some of those are the patterns of the seasons, the moon, the sun, and even women's periods. And it was the Egyptians who created the first Sumerian calendar. And with this we get the oldest account of a birthday coming from the Bible, which is definitely a credible source of human history. The idea of a birthday is now fresh out of the womb. That being said, it's not exactly what we think it is. You see, Egyptians only celebrated the birth of their gods. And in this biblical account, we see that when the pharaoh is coronated, he is seen to be reborn as a god, and therefore his birthday is celebrated. If we fast forward a bit in time, we'll find out that the ancient Greeks borrowed this tradition of a birthday. The most relevant of these being to the goddess of the moon, Artemis. And in order to properly pay tribute to a god of the hunt, you first gotta make a round cake, cover it with frosted obesity, plop some candles on that thing, and take it straight to a temple, baby. Now, if we stayed in the same time, but looked a little bit north, we would find the Romans. The ancient Romans also borrowed this tradition of a birthday and decided to do it for the common man, because much like modern day influencers and YouTubers, we think we're God. Any Roman turning 50 would be given a special cake because back then, that was kind of a huge milestone. Unless you're a woman, because do keep in mind these were still the ancient times, and while women were happily picking berries, men were waging wars and just being absolute pieces of trash. If we fast forward through time a bit more, we'll eventually come to the death of Jesus Christ and the formation of the Christian church. Because of Christian culture, this tradition wasn't really adopted until the 4th century when they decided that, hey, we kind of need more members if we don't want to be wiped out. So let's adopt this Saturnalia thing that the Romans do. Why? Because we're a cult and we need people to sacrifice that aren't our own. Fast forward to the late 18th century and we'll start seeing our modern birthday celebrations in Germany. This celebration was originally known as Kinderfest, and it consisted of bringing a child a cake in the morning because we all know they didn't sleep at all. The cake the kids were given had a candle on top for each year that they lived, plus 1, hoping they'd live at least 1 more year. Blowing out the candles and making a wish is probably one of the most memorable and traumatizing experiences we've all had as kids. This emotional baggage was only given to people once we hit the Industrial Revolution, as cakes became a lot cheaper to make. The final tradition of a birthday is the Happy Birthday song, which is kind of just a remix of this song that came out in 1893 for school kids, with some different lyrics, which eventually got into a weird lawsuit, and now we just sing Happy Birthday to people, without knowing that we're actually getting fined millions of dollars. And that's it. That's all you really need to know birthdays. October 5th is the most common birthday date because everybody's banging on New Year's Eve. And with that, we wrap up the history of birthdays. But you guys probably have a few birthdays coming up, and maybe you don't really know what to get this special person. So let me just give you some ideas. Now, I know all of you guys are such untalented individuals that you guys can't even eat on your own. But if you really want to make someone happy, you could always try making them something. This is a sticker I made for my buddies. There's not much to say about it other than that, hey. Electronics. If you really don't know what to get them, just get them some electronics, dude. Remember that whoever you care about probably doesn't care about you, so just get them whatever. If you actually do know this person and you know that they care about you, I'd recommend trying to find something that they would probably use. If they're a bit of a cook, a little bit of a chef kind of person, maybe get them a new skillet, new iron cast hardware. Is that the right word? I don't know. Maybe if they're a gamer, get them that new mouse they've been looking for, or some cool gear they might appreciate. Or some G Fuel. I'm not sponsored, but like, I could be. And number 4, our final item on this list is food. Food wins the way to the heart, the brain, the kidneys, and you could probably even rip out their stomach while they're eating at the same time, and they wouldn't even notice. Now, anyway, I hope you did enjoy this video. I'd appreciate it if you assert your dominance over that like button. And just remember that I know where you live, and if you subscribe, you might survive. And I'm not trying to be menacing, but you should probably hit the bell unless you want to go to hell. And with all that said, have a great day.